It's been a while since I've done a life update of any description, so figured I'd do one of those today. Man, it's been just a crazy time with like everything going on in my state of Minnesota and just the country, and it feels like a weird time to try to be moving forward on things and making progress, but also I feel like that's all I can do to stay, relatively speaking, sane. So let's jump into it. So I'll start off with work things. I have been a direct support professional now for, I don't know, 9 months, something like that, 10 months. And it's going all right. It's, ironically, a rather inaccessible field in a lot of ways. Whether that's the resources that I have to use daily for my job, some of the ways that, things are being done at my company could use some accessibility improvement, and I'm doing what I can with the time and resources that I do have to try to change that. I've brailled some signs for my building. I advocated for like some high-vis, like safety tape, textured tape, to be placed in some of our more trafficked, safety areas, that sort of thing. And I'm also in the process of doing something that might allow me to do more of this type of work as well, and I will make more announcements on that coming up at some point. There's a lot of wheels in motion right now, and I'm trying to get a handle on it before I go, too much farther in more information. But it's something that does tie into kind of my next point, which is, I think for me, realizing how much of the norm is that things aren't accessible and that people don't know things and that there's not a lot of resources that are geared towards real on-the-ground situations that aren't directly tied to some amount of like government funding or just struggles that people have, are being left in the dust because there are other things to take care of. And it's just something I've been seeing a lot. Again, I'm being intentionally vague right now because I'm still working on a lot of things. As far as YouTube goes, we're knocking on almost 390 subscribers, and what's amazing to me about this channel is there has never been an upload schedule. There has never been like a singular topic that I do or do not necessarily cover. I mean, when I travel, I try to get, vlogs of places that I go where I can. When I talk about accessible experiences, I try to do so in a very honest way, giving feedback to the places that I'm going. And when I do, music or plant videos or, product reviews or whatever it's been on this channel over these last several years, there's been a lot of support. And it's that mentality in creating a community that I want to keep doing. I'm not very effective at doing all this multi-marketing with, different social medias. I'm not on TikTok. I've made a handful of short videos on this channel, and they're really bad because it's just not something I'm comfortable with. I would rather sit down like this and have a more open-ended conversation, or create something that's meaningful through a longer form of content. It's just what I'm more comfortable with. But that being said, I want to keep doing that, and there are a lot of different things that I would like to work on. I have a friend of mine who requested more of the book, story reading type videos in Braille. What did I do? Was it If You Give a Mouse a Cookie? I think it was. She used that in her classroom, which was really, really cool. But I want to do more things like that because there's some really cool stories that are available in Braille that actually aren't available in print. So I think it might be an interesting way to kind of bridge the gap and get people interested in Braille. I know a few of you are in the process of learning Braille, and I want to be able to do maybe some kind of content on Braille. Here's my little tangent there, is that I learned Braille when it was known as English Braille American Edition. So EBAE was the name of the code that I learned growing up. And literally my senior year of high school, it changed to something called Unified English Braille, or UEB. With the advent of the digital age, the Braille code was brought to a level that made things apparently easier for transcribers and more in line so that Braille from the United Kingdom, the United States, and Australia could kind of be streamlined. I find the system to be clunky. I find there to be a lot of changes made to the way that Braille is put forth in ways that make me less efficient. And a lot of that is because I don't use it, and I will readily admit that. I'm a stubborn old man, and I don't like the new thing. But I want to make content on this channel primarily around places to start. The alphabet is a big one. And so if that's something you'd be interested in, let me know. It's something that is kind of coupled with what I have coming up that I will talk more about. And kind of on that note, you know, my goal with this channel, especially now that I have like the microphone and I can do a little bit more formalized things, I would love to get to a point where I can maybe do more with talking about different products and things that are designed for the blind, because there's a lot of things that are expensive that I am really fortunate to have access to for one reason or another. And there are things that are not worth your time and money, to be honest. And there are things that might be worth it for you that aren't worth it for me, and vice versa. But there's not enough content that really just sits on the ground without a sponsor, without a, you know, kind of really streamlined approach. And I want to make that for things, again, that might seem really like rudimentary, like a Slate and Stylus or a Perkins Brailler, or different kinds of canes, talking about why they might be helpful versus one another, that sort of thing. And I want to come up with a name for a series that is kind of about building your own accessibility system. And that looks different to everybody. But I think for me, I want to talk about my system, why it works, what I do, what I don't do, why I do what I do, and why I don't do certain other things. So that's something to keep eyes on. Other life things, we've been doing a lot of work on our house, and that has included starting the process of getting ready to like rewire outlets and things like that to get things grounded. I want to get more lighting in this space because I think that it would help me a lot. I have a lot of lamps. Actually, just got my grandmother-in-law just gave me a lamp today that I have next to me on the desk here. And then I have my Govee lamps, and they work well as like secondary lights and task lights and that sort of thing. I need something up in the ceiling that's a little brighter for my ability to do work up here. I want to get my outlets taken care of so that I can get a gaming setup and all that going. I really want to get back into playing games on this channel. That's something I really enjoyed. And talk about accessibility in gaming a little bit more as well. I don't know. I feel scatterbrained because there's a lot of things that I want to do, and I don't make a lot of money doing what I do. I make under $30,000 a year, and we're fixing up an old house, and I have 2 cats and a dog, and those things are not cheap when you add them up, with our car and groceries and gas and all of the things. And I guess I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed because there's a lot of things I want to do to quote unquote move the plot forward here. And the way that the world is right now, it's just feeling like those things are not completely out of reach, but they're getting further and further as, the situation with the war in Iran and the conflict in the state of Minnesota with the current administration, and my ability as a human to feel like I am allowed to exist in spaces that aren't always designed for me. And I am really, really adamant about making change, but also doing so in a realistic, in a meaningful, and an impactful way. And so the last thing, and I've kind of been alluding to it throughout the course of this video, and I'm not going to give a lot of details, but I'm actually starting the process of starting a business so that I can bring that to spaces that I think could use more of that change and that impact in a meaningful way that allows for more impactful sharing of perspectives, stories, and also ways to make the world a more accessible place. So more on that to come, but I really appreciate all of you, because this channel wouldn't exist without the people who are here to support me. And I know a few of you from real life, but I also don't know a lot of you very well. And what I appreciate is that the internet, and that doing something like this, having a channel, gives me a space to reach out and connect with other people and to talk about the way that the world is and what's easy, what's hard, what's frustrating. And without that, I think we would struggle as a disability community and a blind and visually impaired community specifically to, iterate and develop and to work together. So appreciate all of you. If there's anything specific you want to see on the channel going forward, why do you watch? Why do you come back? Those are good things for me to know so that I know what drives you to watch me. Let me know in the comments, and I'm going to try to make more things this week. I'm actually having an issue with my phone where the power button isn't working extraordinarily well. I may have to get that replaced, so there may be a break in content while I get that sorted. But I'm working on it, and I hope that you are doing well. I know things are nuts right now, but take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Like and subscribe for more, and we'll see you soon. Peace.